Good evening. Tonight we are going to be speaking about meal prep and why prepping your meals or prepping your food in advance isn't necessarily just for gym rats. Okay, why it actually could be an advantage to many, many more people who just want to work on their general health and fitness goals. Okay, I'm going to let in a couple more latecomers. Good evening. How are we? How are we doing this evening? Beautiful. Taking a while to join. I'll let them in one more time. How are we, Kelly? How are we, Hannes? How's your day today? Okay?
Hey, I'm doing good. Just finished my test today.
Oh, beautiful. What was your testing?
A law quiz for my course. I'm
Well,
doing law.
what do you, law quiz?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
How's that go? Where do you study that?
UNSW.
Yeah, which uni? Which university are you at?
Uh, UNSW, University of New South Wales.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Up in Sydney? Up in
Yeah,
Sydney?
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. How
Fantastic.
are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. I'm well. Just getting this Instagram live stream sorted. It's on my phone.
Great.
Beautiful. Enjoying this lovely, warm, summery weather as well. All right. Thanks to those of you who have joined. Okay, let's get underway here. Tonight, we're going to be speaking about the importance of meal preparation. Okay, and why it's not necessarily just for the gym rats. Okay, there's a big stereotype towards prepping all your meals. You may have seen it on Instagram. You may have seen it on TV, some other source of social media, where you see the meals spread out and all prepped for the week in advance. Tonight, we're not necessarily talking about that specifically. We can look at it in that way, but I'm just talking to you generally about planning and preparing some ingredients or meals in advance, potentially, right? And why that can help you with your health and fitness goals, all right? I'm just going to share my screen quickly to give you a brief rundown of what we're going to be going through. Beautiful, all right? Sorry, it's a little bit zoomed out. I'm going to be taking you through why we should be, or some benefits of actually prepping your meals, some risks if we don't prepare enough ingredients, we don't prepare our food enough, or put enough attention into planning our groceries and our meals, okay? Then I'm going to mainly focus on these, all right? Some breakfast, lunch, and dinner suggestions that we may not have thought of, okay? That are a little bit more creative than our usual chicken, rice, broccoli, pasta, steak, beans, whatever it may be. Those things are fine. If you enjoy those basic meals, completely fine. I have them sometimes. But I'm going to give you a few more suggestions which are a little bit more out there and interesting than the common ones, all right? I'm going to go into a few snack suggestions as well. And then I'm going to finally finish off with a few brands of frozen pre-prepared meals for when we're really stuck and we just want something quick that we can heat up in the microwave, all right? Stop my share there. No other people coming in. I'll keep an eye on it anyway. Beautiful. Let's get started. All right. We're going to talk about some benefits of preparing your meals or some ingredients. All right. The first one is time. Okay. All of us have time as a resource. It's only limited. All right. We've got work commitments. We've got family commitments. We have friend commitments. Those of us in Melbourne, where lockdown's lifting, we're starting to see our friends. All right. So many things going on in our days, all right? However, all of us at one point or another, more or less, use time as an excuse, okay? It's very easy to say, oh, I don't have enough time. When all of us have enough time, it's a matter of what we deem to be important and what we deem to be less important, okay? And whether those things are consciously or subconsciously important or unimportant to us, all right? But if something is important to us, i.e. your health and fitness goals, then we need to put in a little bit of extra effort into making time for things which are important, okay? When we do that for preparing our meals and our ingredients, you will realize that it doesn't take as much time as you expected it would, okay? And if you do, it'll actually save you time to be able to do other things. For example, instead of thinking on the spot, rolling up to Coles at 6 p.m. going, what am I going to cook tonight? If you've prepared ingredients or meals 1 or 2 days before, it's actually going to save you time eating and then going off to do other things which are important as well. Okay. So long story short there, by making a little bit of extra time for, in this circumstance, preparing your meals or ingredients, it'll save you time later on without you even realizing. Okay. So time's a big one there. Similar along here is it takes guesswork out of your meals. Okay. Again, similar example. Instead of stopping on the spot when you're exhausted from work, you're exhausted from uni, whatever it may be, you don't have much time, don't have much energy. Instead of having to guess or think through what you're going to be having and plan on the spot, you've already got ingredients planned, you've already got meals planned. All you've got to do is quickly cook them, heat them up in the microwave, or chuck them together. Okay, so it takes mental effort away from cooking. All right. Another one's portion control. Okay, whether your goal is to lose weight, whether it's to maintain weight, whether it's to gain weight, whether it's a specific sporting goal, specific health goal, whatever it may be, all of us have individual nutrient requirements. Okay, I'm going to use myself as an example here. I'm trying to gain weight at the moment very slowly, okay, and put muscle mass on. So by preparing my meals in advance, I can exert some portion control over them. Okay, I can make sure in advance that I'm going to be getting enough of what I need by planning them out in advance. Okay, and having at least some, if not all of it, ready to go. Okay. Obviously, we should be prioritizing hunger. And on a night we go down for dinner, if you're a little bit more hungry, you're going to have a bit more, and vice versa. If you're not as hungry, you can have a bit less. But preparing our meals or ingredients in advance will allow us to prepare meals which are more appropriate for our goals. Okay. Rather than getting home at 7 and slapping together some 2-minute noodles and salami, you can come home and you'll have a pre-prepared meal with enough pasta for you, enough chicken for you as an example, and enough vegetables. Okay, that's all portioned out, ready to go. You know what's going to meet your requirements and your goals right now. Okay, rather than having to think and do things on the spot, click, click, click. All right, makes sense? Another one, which we may not think of, is fulfillment. Okay, again, it's not necessary unless you enjoy doing this to make your every single dinner and every single lunch of the week in advance and have 29 different containers spread out on your bench. Some people like to do that. That's fine if you want to do that. Some of you don't, okay? But whether we just prepare some chicken for the next few nights or whether we prepare our lunches for the next 5 days, we're going to feel fulfilled that we've been productive and that we've planned and then we've gotten things ready for the week coming up, all right? So never underestimate how fulfilling it is to be productive, okay? In this context, preparing meals or some ingredients for the week ahead in advance, all right? In summary, for some reasons why I really encourage you to do it, time is a big one. Investing a little bit more time into preparing your meals will actually save you time cooking or preparing meals down the track, all right? In saying that, it takes guesswork out of it. It decreases the risk of making poorer decisions on the spot when you're hungry or when you're tired or short on time. All right, helps you control the portions for your nutrients or certain food groups, I should say, that are in line with your goals. And finally, fulfillment. You're going to feel productive and happy when you've prepared ingredients or meals, okay? It's ticking off a little box, ticking off a little goal, taking a little step further towards your goals. All right? Let's move on now to the flip side of that, which is some risks or some potential negatives of not putting enough effort into planning our meals and ingredients, all right? Now, like I said, most of these are going to be on the flip side. The first one is we're more at risk of eating undernourishing meals, okay, that aren't going to meet our nutrient requirements, which may have a little bit too much fat and or sugar and or salt in excess of our requirements, okay? Whether that be really quick, easy things that we have in our pantry, whether that be ordering Uber Eats again or takeaway again, all right? I'm not saying all those things are bad. I'm just saying that if we do that very often, we're less likely to be meeting our nutrient requirements and or we're more likely to be eating a little bit too much energy for our goals, okay? Or not enough beneficial nutrients, all right? Another one there is that it's potentially expensive if we're ordering Uber Eats several nights a week, takeaway several nights a week, all right? We may spend a lot more money and harm our wallets a lot more than what we would if we planned meals out in advance and cooked most of our meals for the week and saved takeaway or eating out as a treat for once a week down the track, all right? Another one here, similar on the topic, is it may become a pattern, okay? Habits take up to approximately 4 weeks to form, all right? If we're going through a particularly busy period of time, whatever it may be, especially leading up to Christmas, and we get into the habit of just ordering takeaway or just coming home and having 2-minute noodles, whatever it may be, frozen chicken nuggets and chips. If we come home and we get into the habit, we're going to start doing this once a week. The next week, you may do it twice a week. Following week, you may do it 4 times a week, all right? We want to be shifting from those counterproductive habits, okay? We want to be shifting those more towards practicing, actually preparing our meals at least a few times a week. Once we get through that initial barrier phase of it taking a bit more time and effort, it'll become a habit and become something you're used to. It will start becoming more of a norm for you, okay? It will never feel easy or normal straight away, okay? Not supposed to, okay? So I've said most of what I wanted to say there. If we don't put enough time and effort into preparing our meals or ingredients, we're less likely to consume enough beneficial nutrients, more likely to have a little bit too much energy, for example, through fat and sugar, and also too much salt, all right? And it's going to be out of line with our health and fitness goals, okay, if we're not putting enough effort into these things, okay? Another thing I'll just say there as well, again, just to use a common example of weight loss, it's very, very common for people to be focused on the end goal, which is saying dropping to a size X, whatever it is, or losing 10, 20, 30 kilos, whatever it may be, okay? If we're purely focusing on that end goal and purely focusing on the scales on a week-to-week basis, we're ignoring a large chunk of the puzzle, okay? Which are the behaviors that we want to form to be able to achieve those things in the end, okay? We can't lose weight sustainably by restrictively eating and smashing ourselves with exercise a few times a week, all right? What we want to be doing is leading towards a slow, sustainable approach, which we like to promote here at Get Going, okay? Which is, one example here, one big key piece of the puzzle is learning to prepare meals and learning to put a little bit more effort into your food planning and preparation and intake, what you're actually eating, okay? So long story short there, preparing your meals or learning how to eat consistently and in a balanced way is one large piece of the puzzle which everybody needs to lay down or get used to and practice for whichever fitness or health goal that may be, okay? Whether it's like myself who wants to slowly put on weight, whether it's other people who want to slowly lose weight, if you just want to create a healthier lifestyle, if you don't want to do either of those things, we need to slowly learn and focus on building habits like preparing our meals before we can achieve those fitness and health goals, okay? Cool. Let's move on now to some actual ideas, okay? I've spoken about the benefits and some risks of not doing so. I want to give you some ideas that you may or may not have thought of, you may or may not have tried before, okay, to implement in your meal preparation schedule or practice, okay? Let's start with breakfast, all right? A lot of us are on the go in the morning, in a rush, want to get up, put our clothes on, makeup, brush teeth, whatever it may be, and then get out the door, okay? Some people do, some people don't have time to sit down and have breakfast for half an hour, okay? If you want something that you can prepare the night before and take with you in the car or to work to heat up, one big awesome idea is overnight oats, okay? I'm not sure if you've tried it before, but if we pop some oats into a container with a milk of your choice, such as almond milk, regular dairy milk, whatever it may be, with yogurt or some protein powder, some fruit, some nuts if you like them, some seeds, mix it around, chuck it in the fridge overnight, you pull it out, and it will be almost like a pudding essentially, okay, for the next day, okay? Awesome idea if you want something quick that you can eat in the car or when you get to work, okay? You can also heat it back up if you want it to be warm, okay? Another awesome idea for breakfast, which you may not have thought of, is a frittata, little frittata muffins or omelets, okay? You can cook them up with eggs, vegetables of your choice. I love spinach, tomatoes, and mushrooms, some smoked salmon or some shortcut bacon with the fat trimmed off of it, any sort of herbs and spices you want. Chuck them in the oven. So you make a big mixture up, chuck them in the oven in little muffin slots, and you can actually have frittata-like muffins, okay? Or if you want a similar thing that's a little bit quicker, literally cook up an omelet the night before, chuck it back in the fridge, and take it with you to work and heat it up if you've got a microwave, okay? Couple of ideas there, one sweet and one savory for really fast breakfast ideas, rather than just grabbing it up and go or going through the Macca's drive-through, okay? Couple of things that you can whip up in under 10 minutes, probably under 5 minutes the night before, and then grab out of the fridge on the way to work, okay? Let's move on now to main meals. So lunches to take to work or dinners, okay, to have when you get home, okay? One thing that I recommend to some people, okay, which is a little bit different to preparing actual full meals, is ingredient prepping, okay? This is something that I love to do on a week-to-week basis, okay, rather than, I've never really been one to make, let's say, 5 spaghetti bolognese meals for the next 5 days. I usually like to ingredient prep. What I mean by that is cooking up a decent amount of, let's say, chicken breast or kangaroo mince or tofu as another example, flavoring it with herbs and spices, chuck it in a big container, okay? Similar with rice or with potato or sweet potato or pasta, I cook up a large amount of it and then chuck it in the fridge and refrigerate it. Same with vegetables. I either cook them up or I just have big bags of salad veg, pre-chopped up veg, even frozen vegetables, okay? Last one being sauces and herbs and spices in our cupboard, in our pantries, ready to go, okay? That way, if you're at home and you want a quick lunch, if you are going to work, if you come home that night and just want something quick, all you need to do is grab a bit of the protein that you've cooked up, some of the carbs you've cooked up, some vegetable sauce you've cooked up, some herbs, spices, or sauces, chuck it all together, chuck it in the microwave or in a fry pan for 3 minutes, and then you have a dinner. Bit of a mix and match situation, okay? You can do that with literally whatever you like. I usually do chicken breast or kangaroo mince, but for vegans watching, you can do tofu, you can cook up a large amount of eggs, okay? Keep it for the next 2 to 3 days to use as ingredient prep, okay? On to some actual meal ideas now that you may or not have had as meal prep before. A big pasta sauce, okay? You can use kangaroo mince, chicken breast mince, extra lean beef mince, textured vegetable protein for vegans, okay? Cook up a large amount of that with vegetables of choice, some grated zucchini, carrot, chopped up mushrooms, some garlic, some onion, and a big tomato-based sauce. Cook up a large amount of that, as well as having it with pasta or even rice or quinoa, some people like to have, okay? And then put it into individual serve containers, let's say 4 or 5, whatever it is. Chuck some in the fridge for the next couple of lunches or dinners. If you're not going to have it, chuck them in the freezer, and then you can easily whip that out and microwave that one night, okay? It'll keep for a bit longer in the freezer, obviously, okay? So a big tomato-based pasta sauce that includes some vegetables that can be served with pasta or rice or quinoa, okay? Is one idea I love to implement. Another one is taco bowls. This is probably one leaning more towards the pre-prepared full meals that you actually have in containers laid out that you take, all right? Again, protein source of choice, chicken breasts, kangaroo steak, prawns, fish, tofu, all right? Coated in, let's say, Old El Paso fajita mix or taco mix, the spice mix. Cooking a big amount of that up, having a rainbow of vegetables such as capsicum, onions, black beans for some legumes, corn, broccoli, whatever you like to put in there, some lettuce, okay? And serve that with rice or quinoa with some tomato-based salsa across the top. You can even chuck a little bit of avocado in there as well, okay? Put that in a whole lot of meal prep containers or bowls to take with you, okay? They're beautiful. They're really nice to look at if you arrange all the colors out around the container, okay? ticking off all your nutrient requirements, not all, but a lot of your nutrient requirements whilst you're at it as well. Okay. Finally, one that we all love to have every now and again, stir fry. Okay. Obviously, it's a very commonly cooked one. If you're a little bit bored of it, I don't blame you, but I still love stir fry. It's hard to get bored of it because there's so many different ways that you can cook it. So many different protein sources we can use: chicken, turkey, lean red meat, fish, seafood, tofu. So many different types of protein to try. So many different kinds of vegetables for you to chuck in: broccoli, snow peas, green beans, broccolini, red cabbage, capsicum. There's so many different things that we can include for variety. Okay. If we're getting bored of one type, we can try a different kind of meat or vegetable in there. Okay. Serve it with noodles or some rice. Okay. I love using salt reduced soy sauce, stevia for sweetener, and then a bit of garlic and ginger and chili. Those are my favorite things to flavor my stir fries with. Again, it's one that's really quick and easy to cook on the spot, but it's also something that you can cook 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 meals. Chuck them in the fridge or freezer, okay, for when you want something quick. All right. As a bit of a recap there, I know I've talked for a while. I'm going to stop and pause for a moment. Ingredient prepping. Instead of actually preparing meals, you can prepare protein, carb, vegetable sources, and then mix and match whatever you feel like, okay? Other few that I went through are pasta sauce with a lean protein sauce and some vegetables, okay? Taco bowls with either protein or vegetable sauce that you'd like. And then finally, that's my cat, I'm sorry. Finally, a stir fry, okay? With, again, whichever protein sauce, whichever vegetable sauces you like, paired with some noodles or rice, okay? Any questions? I know I've been talking for a little while. I'm going to pause briefly. Does anyone have any questions before I move on to the last part?
Question?
Yes, Lynn, go for it.
To just prepare the meals, put it in the fridge or freezer, maybe for a few days or a week. Some people and some research said if you pre-cooked vegetables or some of the food, and if you just or it will lose the nutrition. Does it have a science? Any data to support, or it's just a kind of the saying? So for the nutrition wise, it lose the nutrition. So if you're not eating the fresh veggies, particularly veggies, yeah.
Awesome question. Really awesome question. For those of you watching on Instagram, Lynn's asked, if you cook, let's say vegetables especially, and then chuck them in the fridge and eat them a few days later, will they have lost nutrients? Okay, or some nutritional value? Awesome question. I'll start off by saying, whenever vegetables are being stored, whenever they're being chopped up, whenever they're being cooked by any means, they will always lose some nutritional value. It's just the reality, okay? I'm going to use an example. Vitamin C in broccoli, when you boil some broccoli, the heat will take away some of that vitamin C. And when you boil, some of the vitamin C will dissolve into the water, okay? This will always happen when we cook, let's say, vegetables, as this example. Chopped vegetables, or if we store vegetables for several days to a week, all right? So that will always happen. So in saying that, if we can prepare fresh vegetables that we've cooked, that we've bought in the past couple of days, and eat them, like prepare them and eat them then, of course, they will have more nutritional value, okay? Of course. So if you don't have a problem with it, fresh is always best, okay? However, in saying that, you're better off preparing a large amount of meals and then storing them in the fridge or freezer. And then even though they've lost some nutritional value, you're still better off eating those compared to not having vegetables at all. Does that make sense? So fresh is always best. It'll always have more nutritional value if you eat them fresh, okay? However, if it's the only thing or one of the only things that's going to encourage you to actually eat vegetables is preparing heaps of meals in advance or ingredients in advance, then I'd always opt for that rather than saying, oh, they're going to lose some nutrients. I better not do that. And then you may not eat any vegetables at all. You know what I mean? So fresh is always best. If you can buy some, let's say, broccoli and then cook it and use it in the next few days. But eating vegetables that are a few days old, have been cooked and are a few days old, is always better than having no vegetables or little vegetables. Okay? Awesome question, though. Really, really good question. Thank you for asking that. Let's move on now, finally, to some quick snacks and some quick brands for pre-made meals or frozen meals for when you just really need something quick. All right? A couple of sweet snack ideas that I've covered in previous seminars before. Okay? Yogurt pots or squeezable pouches are awesome. Okay? They contain so many nutritional benefits: protein, probiotics, calcium, a little bit of long-lasting carbohydrate, amongst other things as well, okay? Chobani Fit and YoPro, little snack pots or the squeezable pouches, are both fantastic, quick, portable snack options for you to have, okay? Nearly every supermarket has them. I really, really encourage you to get onto those for a nutritious, fast snack, all right? You can dip a couple of Wheat Bix into them. You can mix in a little handful of nuts, have them with fruit, all fast, sweet snack options, okay? Another one, even though I always opt for food first before we go for supplements, but the Body Science or Aussie Body's protein bar and pre-made protein shake range are great, especially if you've just finished a hard exercise session, okay? And you're not going to be eating for a little while. A protein bar or a protein shake that's low in sugar and high in protein is another good snack option. But I probably lean towards having, let's say, yogurt and fruit first, all right? We should always look for food first before supplements, all right? Some savory fast snack ideas. You've seen Serena brand is one option. They make a tuna and legumes mix that you can open a packet or open a can, I believe. Fast, quick source of both protein and fiber, amongst other beneficial nutrients in there, okay? And never underestimate the humble chopped up vegetables with little single serve hummus packets. They are fantastic, okay? Flavorsome, nutritious, and they also help you control your portion of hummus. Because if you're anything like me, hummus is very, very, very easy to overeat, okay? And finally, if you like them and if your office isn't going to berate you for the smell, boiled eggs are fantastic. Very easy to boil up a large amount of them and to take as a nice little portable, nutritious, satiating snack, okay? Finally, some pre-prepared frozen, if not refrigerated meal ideas, brands that we're increasingly seeing, which is awesome to see that the food industry is responding to the I'll call it the health or the fitness movement, that many people want healthier products. So it's good to see some of these brands and pre-prepared meals coming out, okay? The Super Nature and the McCain Healthy Choice range is generally pretty good, okay? The Super Nature one's probably a little bit better, okay? They offer a nice big range of fairly healthy frozen meals. If we're going to have one of these frozen meals though, I'd add a little bit of extra veg and maybe some extra protein, like a can of tuna or a boiled egg or two, just because it's a little bit low in protein and vegetables, these frozen meals, generally speaking. All right, so I'll repeat, the Super Nature and the McCain Healthy Choice are both pretty good frozen meal options if you're really desperate and in need of a fast frozen meal, okay? Just add a bit of extra veg and a bit of extra protein in there, okay? Because that tends to be a bit low. And finally, I'm starting to see this more and more now in Coles and Woolworths supermarkets, IGA supermarkets as well as even select petrol stations. I'm starting to see pre-prepared gym-oriented meals, okay? They're marketed towards the gym goer population, but there's no reason why the general healthy population can't have them as well, okay? U-Foods, My Muscle Chef, and Core Power Foods are 3 brand options out there now that I'm increasingly seeing in supermarkets. They're pre-prepared meals that sometimes frozen, usually in a refrigerated section, are balanced. Awesome balanced meals with a source of protein, source of vegetables, and a portion controlled amount of carbohydrates as well, okay? Which I would say, obviously recommend you to cook your own food But if you're really, really desperate and want something fast, then these few brands are going to offer you something pretty beneficial. Okay? I'm going to wrap it up there. I've been talking for a long time, and as I always say, you're probably sick of my voice by now. If there's any other questions from Instagram or from Zoom, please yell them out or pop them in the chat. Don't be shy. Any questions? Nope, that's all right. No stress at all. Thank you very much for joining me. More Burnians on this beautiful sunny evening. Hopefully it's nice weather up in Sydney for you too, okay? Have a wonderful week and keep working hard, all right? Bye for now. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.